My name is Bill Rafalski, and I want to welcome you to the second class of my film series entitled Agatha Christie at the Movies. Today's movie is called Murder Most Foul, with Margaret Rutherford once again playing Miss Marple. This is the last of the 4 Miss Marple films made at the British studio at MGM. The movie was released in 1964. The screenplay is loosely based on the Agatha Christie book published in 1952. The title of the book was Mrs. McGinty's Dead. Some of the book's action and characters have been changed. The biggest change in Murder Most Foul is the detective is Miss Marple. In the book, the detective was Poirot. Inspector Craddock is a character that was added to each of the 4 MGM UK Miss Marple films. Inspector Craddock was played by Charles Tingwell. With the result of his successful police work in Murder Most Foul, Inspector Craddock is promoted to Chief Inspector. In the movie, Mrs. McGinty is a barmaid and a former actress. She is found hanged in her flat. Her lodger, Harold Taylor, is found at the scene and seems guilty. Miss Marple is selected for the jury for his trial. She is the lone holdout proclaiming Harold's innocence. This leads to a mistrial. Miss Marple decides to snoop at the McGinty flat. Miss Marple finds a newspaper with words cut out plus several playbills. One of the playbills is for a murder mystery called Murder, She Said, the title of last week's movie. Miss Marple's deduction is that Mrs. McGinty was blackmailing members of a theater company called the Cosgood Players. Miss Marple auditions for a part in their new play, and she gets the part. The audition that Margaret used is called The Death of Dan McGrew. This recitation was a personal favorite of Margaret. The film did use some real English locations. Some of those locations were the police station in Watford, England, the Hertfordshire Theatre, and the Clarendon Road in Watford. Ron Goodwin, the musical composer, paid tribute to Jerry Goldsmith, musical score that he used in the TV series Dr. Kildare with Richard Chamberlain. Goodwin used the Dr. Kildare theme at the opening of the hospital scene and includes the shot of the doors as they open to the ward. Margaret Rutherford's childhood was marked by the mental illness of both of her parents. 1 month after her parents' wedding, her father had a nervous breakdown. Her father was put into a mental institution. After a short stay, her father was released to his wife. Margaret's mother and father stayed with his parents for a short time. In a fit of rage, Margaret Rutherford's father brutally murdered his own father. Margaret's father was readmitted to the Broadmoor Institute for the Criminally Insane. But after 7 years, Margaret's father was re-released again and was reunited with his wife. Their only child, Margaret, was born in 1892. The family decided to make a fresh start in a new country, India, in the town of Madras. When Margaret turned 3 years old, however, she was shipped back to London to live with a wealthy maiden aunt, Bessie Nicholson. Bessie lived in Wimbledon, England. Margaret was shipped back to England because her mother had committed suicide, and her father disappeared right afterward. Years later, young Margaret would discover that her father was readmitted to Broadmoor Institute for the Criminally Insane. He would stay in that institute until the day he died. Throughout her life, Margaret feared that she had inherited her parents' mental illness. Margaret suffered bouts of severe depression. She used medication and periodic electroshock treatments. Margaret's husband, Stringer Davis, was with her to comfort her during her medical struggles. Margaret Rutherford was educated at Wimbledon High School. At the age of 13, Margaret transferred to boarding school in Seaford, England, called Ravenscroft School. At Ravenscroft, Margaret discovered that she had an interest in theater, and Bessie paid for private acting lessons for Margaret. The Old Vic School was the headquarters of several performing arts companies in London. Aunt Bessie left a legacy will for Margaret. This legacy enabled Margaret to enroll at the Old Vic School. She became a trained pianist and an elocutionist. The Old Vic was founded in 1818 as the Royal Coburg, which is Prince Albert's family. The theater was renamed in 1833, however, as the Royal Victoria, but it was known as the Old Vic. In 1940, the Germans bombed London on a daily basis, trying to push the British to surrender to Nazi Germany. This regular bombing was referred to as the Blitz, short for Blitzkrieg. One of these bombing runs seriously damaged the Old Vic. Beginning in 1940 through 1943, the Old Vic became a touring theatrical company only. Their headquarters was in Burnley, Lancashire. In 1944, due to the efforts of Ralph Richardson and Laurence Olivier, the Old Vic re-established a residence in London, but not in their own theater. The Old Vic finally reopened in 1950. In 1963, the Old Vic Company was dissolved. The new National Theatre was founded. The managing director of the National Theatre was Laurence Olivier. All productions of both the Old Vic and the National Theatre were based at the Old Vic Theatre until 1976, when the National Theatre moved to its new location at the Thames. The Old Vic Theatre Trust was established in the year 2000 as a charitable foundation and a nonprofit organization. The goal of the Old Vic Trust was to nurture new theater professionals and improve and protect the historic buildings. The Old Vic funded a diverse range of productions. The actress Francesca Annis has a role in Murder Most Foul. The movie was the first of 5 TV and movie projects based on Agatha Christie stories that Francesca would appear in. I will tell you a lot more about Francesca Annis next week. In the movie, Ron Moody plays the head of the Cosgood Players. Ron Moody was an English actor, singer, composer, and writer. Ron is well known for his portrayal of Fagin, the king of the pickpockets, in the musical Oliver. Ron originated the part of Fagin in the original West End production of the musical. Ron was later cast in the movie version directed by Sir Carol Reed. Ron was nominated for both a Golden Globe and an Oscar for the part. Ron Moody would win the Golden Globe Award as Best Actor in a Musical. Ron returned to play Fagin one more time in 1984 in a Broadway revival of Oliver. And in 1985, Ron was part of a royal performance for Queen Elizabeth. A year before Murder Most Foul was released, both Ron Moody and Margaret Rutherford were cast in the movie sequel to the film The Mouse That Roared. It was called The Mouse on the Moon. The world's smallest country, the Grand Duchy of Fenwick, decides to enter the space race along with the USA and USSR. The funny thing about the sequel is this fact. Peter Sellers was the star of the original movie. Peter, however, refused to appear in the sequel. The producers had a dilemma. Peter had played 3 characters in the original film. The producers had to cast 3 actors to play the roles that Peter had originated. Margaret Rutherford, Ron Moody, and Bernard Cribbins were hired to play those parts. For good measure, the producers added the British comic Terry Thomas to the cast. Later in his career, Ron Moody was cast in Mel Brooks' second movie, The 12 Chairs. 12 Chairs is based on a Russian novel by Ilf and Petrov. An impoverished aristocrat, played by Ron Moody, discovers at the deathbed of his mother-in-law that she had sewn into the cushions of 12 dining room chairs, the family jewels. When the Bolsheviks took power, the 12 chairs and the rest of the family's belongings are claimed by the state. There is money to be had if the chairs can be found. This movie marked the movie debut of the actor Frank Langella. In 1965, Margaret Rutherford was hired to play the brothel madam, Miss Quickly, in the movie Chimes at Midnight. Written and directed by Orson Welles, the movie's source material is from 5 Shakespearean plays. The central story is about the relationship of Sir John Falstaff, played by Welles, with Prince Hal, a future King of England. The movie is a Spanish-Swiss co-production. For 50 years, the movie was rarely shown. However, in 2015, the Criterion Collection reworked the movie, cleaned up the sound and the dialogue. Now the movie is readily available. One more time, Margaret was offered the role of Miss Marple in a 1965 American version of Christie's The ABC Murders. The movie was released under the title The Alphabet Murders. Tony Randall was cast as Poirot, and Margaret Rutherford makes her final performance as Miss Marple in a cameo role. Click on the link below and you'll be able to watch the movie Murder Most Foul. If you have any questions, email your questions to my email address, wcrafalski@hotmail.com. I have also emailed a one-page handout about the movie to each of you. Next week, I'll be introducing the television show Partners in Crime.